Hey, welcome back to another edition of Everything Football 62. Your host, Jonathan Big Tex Johnson, a.k.a. Uncle Tex, a.k.a. Professor Tex. Before we get started, press that like button, subscribe to the page, and do some sharing with this. I know it's been a little bit, man, but we're on the second week of football. I'm going to do this real quick wrap-up and whatnot. And I'm also do some speaking on Tua Tagoviloa and his day that he had against the Ravens and whatnot, and what that means. But again, like you should know me by now, they moved up to 17-game season, so I don't really, I enjoy football in the whole 9 yards, but I don't get into it until around that 8th week, or going into that 9th week. That's midway to the point they're going to pretty much be who they are at that particular time. So at this point, it's going to probably be, it's 8th to 9th week nowadays and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens with that. But I'm going to try to run through these scores and whatnot, and just give my thoughts on some of the games that I saw. Some of the games I actually saw about 4 or 5 of the different games and whatnot. Some of them I checked out the highlights and whatnot. Detroit looked good. I've been watching Detroit actually from a couple of weeks ago, maybe close to a month ago, because they're on Hard Knocks. And Campbell got them guys, got a bunch of coaches, got a lot of ex-players, coaching staffs there. And I think you can tell last year it's a certain toughness that he's trying to bring in there. So they did let Washington come back and whatnot. But all in all, though, man, that was a good win for them. But they got Washington's number anyway. Miami and Baltimore, to me, that was the game of the day. That's the game of the week, period. So far, the game of the season, that game should have been over. When Lamar broke that 79-yard, it was up 21 points and whatnot. And mark my word, like I say, I don't, and like I said, that should have been over with. That should have been over with. That's the money game for. That's the reason why you want to. That's the reason why you want to pay somebody like Lamar. But the point I'm making is that Tagoviloa had the game of his career. 6 touchdowns, I think 40 to 69 yards. He has Waddle, he has Hill, he has that and whatnot. But that's not a Baltimore defense. I can guarantee you, Ray Lewis was just shaking his head, screaming at the damn TV. I can guarantee you that. Whether it was Humphreys, people say whether it was Humphreys, whether it was Peters, I think my man Peterson, whatever his name is, the other corner, what used to be, is it Peterson? I can't think of that cat's name, but he was hurt all last year. Them guys, I don't think that happens again. Chargers and KC, Mahomes does what Mahomes does and whatnot, just wins. Where, Herbert, he showed some flashes and whatnot. But again, like I said, I told somebody this, Justin Herbert, this is just his 3rd year. Compare his first 2 years with Mahomes, and we can go ahead and move on from that. Cleveland ought to be just kicking themselves in their backside because they had this game wrapped up, and the Jets, Flacco looked good. They ended up getting at him. This game was pretty much a defensive struggle, awful game played by both of the quarterbacks and whatnot. One you kind of expect, one you thought he's probably finally got over that by now. But we all know why Brady's having his little issues right now. Jameis ended up reverting back to being Jameis, and the fight happened and whatnot, so they hyped him up. 2010, that is, but all in all, pretty much not a very good game per se. Carolina, New York. New York's 2-0. I don't believe it as long as Daniel Jones is back there. Don't believe nothing that's going on. Don't believe anything in New York. We'll see what happened with Barkley. He ended up getting like 70-some yards after they had him bottled up pretty much the majority of the day and whatnot. So I don't believe nothing in New York at this particular point. Again, this is extremely early. Pitt in New England, wasn't much going on there. Old Miss Trubisky, I don't know, man. Kind of feel sorry for the kid and whatnot. But that game could have went the other way, but it didn't. So that rookie's going to probably be coming in pretty soon. So he may as well get ready for that and whatnot. Jacksonville looked pretty good. Indianapolis, what are they? 0-1. What are they? 0-1-1 now. So they tied the game and they lost the game. And Matty Ice ain't looking like nothing. I don't know what's going on with Jonathan Taylor. I have no idea. But they got blanked by Jacksonville. So Jacksonville might be on the move. Who knows? Again, extremely early. Rams and Atlanta. Rams walked away. They should have walked away. Atlanta came back. Few mistakes here and there. Atlanta actually should have probably won this game. So that might be some concern for somebody sitting, you up on them and then they come back and they only lose by lose by 4 points and whatnot, had an opportunity, but time ran out. San Francisco said, unfortunately, Trey Lance, he messed around and got hurt. Jimmy G's back in the saddle again. And as much stuff as I do talk about Jimmy G, solid quarterback, I don't think he wins you that big one, but that's just me and whatnot. So that's that thing with him and whatnot. It's 49. So we'll see. Once they got Debo play some decent defense, San Francisco will be okay. Dallas and Cincinnati, kind of some defense going on there. Steady. Still not giving the ball to Zeke enough. It's kind of sad seeing this, watching somebody with Zeke's 26, 27, and this guy's still in his prime, and I can understand the sharing the touches. He has to touch the ball 25 times a game. Go back to his first 3 or 4 years in the season. You can't get a guy 10 or 12 touches and expect him to do something. I mean, come on, man. Got to stop it. Denver shot themselves in the foot. Denver is technically supposed to be 2-0. They went down the red zone, twice against the Seahawks. They fumbled and couldn't get in, I believe, if I can remember. They squandered the chance. They left 14 points out there on the field. They could have actually blown Seattle out, but they didn't. They played bad red zone football and whatnot. They got the win. Everybody trying to point the finger at Russ. I'm like, how you point the finger at him? Coach, bad clock management in the whole 9 yards. The second game of the second week, Arizona and the Raiders, man. I mean, that game was supposed to be over, dude. And I caught that game and looked at it and it was like, wow. And Kyler Murray, he's a magician. Like I said, I've been watching him since high school. Dude's a magician. Took over when he had to take over and whatnot. People got mad and said that and whatever. But it is what it is. He got him that W and whatnot. They just got to learn to be consistent, I suppose. This game right here, man, like dudes is doing, Green Bay and Chicago, know that with Favre and what he does. My man, I think it's Jones, I believe, had a hell of a game, 2 touchdowns, nice runs and whatnot. He's up and coming. Should be. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that. But he's definitely needed. They go him and Big Boy from Boston College and whatnot, play back there sharing the loads of running the ball and whatnot. What's my man's name? Let me grab his name real quick and see can I find that. And whatnot. You got Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon and whatnot. Both Jalen Dillon's a big size back. Aaron Jones can hit you either way. But that might be the ticket for them. The ticket for them is probably going to be running the football. They're probably running the football. I think that's how they're going to have to be able to do what they're doing when it comes to that. That's just what I just feel because because the quarterback has to get a feel of his receivers and whatnot. So that definitely has to get going and whatnot. So having that. And Buffalo's on the tear right now. Buffalo looks like that. They look like they got all gears are clicking right now. Again, too early, 2-0. All gears is clicking. Philadelphia, they're looking like a nice team. Jalen Hurts looked really good last night. Matter of fact, you had all 3 Alabama quarterbacks all won a game this past this week here. Back on Sunday and whatnot, Sunday and Monday and whatnot. So yeah, man, you got that. Like I say, Jalen looks good. He has Johnson there, man. He has weapons that Philly's going to always have to have some kind of a decent defense for the most part and whatnot. Minnesota, I feel it was going to happen. Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is Kirk Cousins. I've told you guys, I've been telling you guys that for 4 or 5 years now. Kirk Cousins is Kirk Cousins, man. As he does what he does. Then took Tagoviloa, right? I mean, look, so it's funny how to fix your NFL quarterback, give him the fastest receivers in the NFL and a better offensive line, and that kind of shows. I don't know what's going to go on for the rest of this season. I don't really care what goes on. I mean, like I said, we'll see what goes on because Miami is not my team. However, I've seen people trying to throw dirt on Tagoviloa, and I'm like, how do you try to throw dirt on this kid, right, when he comes into a situation? And I'm like, when you come into a particular situation, dude, it's just like, what is it that you kind of want this, what do you want him to do when he's put in a certain situation? And because the coach seemingly don't want him, okay? Seemingly don't want him. And I've heard this many times during Tua's time at Alabama, and you can go back and look up. And they say this dude probably throws the best slant and the best out in the game. And I don't say he has one of the strongest arms, but anything from 15 to 25 to 30 yards, he putting that thing in, and that's all you basically need with the type of receiver. He has Waddle and he has Hill. He catch you on the slap bar, he puts it right there, you gone. Now, again, is this, what's going to happen? Now, I sit up there and just read where I heard Mr. Trubisky had six touchdowns in the game. Remember Matt Flynn? That's what got him that big contract. 6 touchdowns in the game. They got him a big contract, got him to go to Seattle in 2012, and they ended up drafting this guy from out of North Carolina State named Russell Wilson or whatever, and the rookie beats him out after giving him giving this guy $40 million. So it doesn't mean, especially in week 2, but I think Tua can play obviously in the NFL. It's going in this 3rd year, and it's supposed to be all this pressure on him. Like, okay, why? You got to put something around him. And they just missed the playoffs last year, barely, and they had a winning record. And shit, I can't remember the last time Miami had a winning record. It's been quite some time. But yeah, man. So we'll see what goes on. But it's like, give this guy his props, man. I mean, him and Lamar put on the they put on the show there Sunday. That was one of the best. To me, that was the best game that was going on right there and whatnot. That and of course the Raiders and the Arizona game and whatnot. Everything else was kind of like, they had some other decent games, but those to me were the 2 premier games right there. You know what I'm saying? So again, like I say, man, it's like we could talk about this kid and what he's done and everything, but it's like if we're going to be fair, and like you guys know, I'm a numbers guy, and we talk about a guy coming in 2020, and right now his record is 15-8. He has a career completion percentage of 66.8, 5,206 yards, right? And he has 5,206 yards, 34 touchdowns and 17, I think that's 17 picks. I want to say that's what that is for 2 years and everything. And right now they're 2-0. Last year he went 7-5. Is because it's convenient. A lot of times it's convenient when you want to use something to make your point. And so quarterbacks have, they have the record. So you look at somebody as a rookie in 2020, he goes 6-3 as a starter in 9 starts. In 10 games, in 9 starts, he goes 6-3. Then last year, he goes 7-5. And he's improved from the 18-14, right? 11 touchdowns with 5 picks. Then he goes up 5 more touchdowns, 16 touchdowns, 5 more, a few more picks and whatnot, and stuff like that. But 7-5 nonetheless. And he's off to a decent start now with everything that's going on now. So give the guy time. It just behooves me on how this is done with certain quarterbacks. And I'm not going to go into it because I've talked about this plenty of times before. But like I say, though, he has, like I said, off to the start, and that was a good game, one of the better games. And we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. But yeah, he definitely balled out. Like I said, that was the best game. That was the best game, in my opinion, of the day and whatnot. Guys, I'll probably come back with some stuff probably sometime tomorrow, the next day. And like I said, I have to tell you guys all the time, numbers don't lie and get emotional. People do. And I tell you all the time, there is no GOAT, greatest of all time, as long as time's still going on. You guys have a good one.